Good morning, Mayor and City Council. I'm Dan Handelman with Court Cop Watch, and I sent comments from our group yesterday. I hope you had a chance to read those. I'm not going to read them all into the record, but the gist of it was that I was here on October 29 when we were taking the final public input on the 3 candidates and didn't testify that day because you had just the week before filed the appeal on Judge Simon's order, and I felt that the fact that only 3 people turned out for that, whereas 21 people turned out the week before, was sending a large message to you that people had lost faith in the entire process because you decided to file this appeal. I don't think that distrust has gone away, and I think that, again, as Joe Walsh just mentioned, it's very nice that Chief Muniz was here today and was able to say these things, but we didn't hear those things until after the public comment process was over. These are things that happen behind closed doors, and this is the problem we're trying to overcome, the decision making behind closed doors. The reason we had a public process for the COCL was so that we would not have the City Council making decisions on information that the community didn't have. And instead we find out that he's committing to 3 days a week. I said one day in my testimony, my written testimony, after the decision's been made. And you know, the constitutional is that you said that slaves were 3/5 of a person. We're going to have 3/5 of the COCL here in Portland, but the rest of the team's going to be somewhere else. We need to have somebody here watching day-to-day things. The Portland police use force that generates a complaint one time every 9 days. They use force once a day on average, and we need somebody who's going to be here every day. And then if Justice Muniz isn't available, I haven't heard any talk of other staff being hired by the Chicago team to take his place if he's not available. And I again go back to the public process and the committee that was handpicked to make sure that there was voices of the mental health community helping decide who's going to be the COCL. And they all said, please don't pick the people from Chicago. And then you said, we're going to pick the people from Chicago. I see that DOJ is here today. I'm hoping that they're going to weigh in since they are part of the arbiters of what's going to finally happen with this. As Commissioner Fritz said previously, the community should have the final voice, but apparently the committee that said not to pick this team from Chicago is not part of that community voice. I also would like to point out that the other 2 candidates attended local meetings of the Community Police Relations Committee and the Citizen Review Committee in the lead up to the process, just the final process here, whereas I didn't seem to be from the Chicago team trying to go out in the community here and meet people and see what was going on at these other meetings. And I also know that Albany and Minnesota Alliance Coalition sent a letter to you, and the Human Rights Commission sent a letter to you. And on Monday evening, I heard some people from the Multnomah Youth Commission expressing their concerns about the decision being made. So we're not saying this by ourselves. We're hearing this from other people in the community.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Mr. Johnson. Thanks again for the record. My name is Charles Johnson, and as we remarked, there's a presence from the Department of Justice and probably from United States Attorney Amanda Marshall's office here, and I'm deeply concerned that they're just going to hop on board with praise of this non-local selection, even though the selection has been improved by the Honorable former Chief Justice's participation in the process. And I don't know where the community is going to break through to you about the public perception process. We know that one of the members of the Human Rights Commission resigned completely because he chose to go with the advice of the city attorney on a limited technical appeal. The city attorney seems to be becoming just a scapegoat for unpopular decisions. We have the city attorney blamed, communication process with the city attorney blamed for giving $5,000 to a cop who's now rehabilitated from his Nazi fetishism. And these are issues that are still burning in the community's mind, but they seem to not be on your mind anymore, not to mention the deaths since James Chassie. And so I hope that something will happen through former Chief Justice Muniz or this doctorate person from Chicago who will, in addition to doing oversight of these complicated technical legal documents, help you realize that many people in the community don't really have faith in this process, the people who maybe feel themselves most at risk. It's hard to say about people with mental health situations because the more extreme those mental health concerns are, the harder it is to really get to where they feel about policing and transitioning from independence to interfacing with services more. But I just really want to encourage you to have your ears open to every suggestion and inferred suggestion, especially that might come from the work of the Honorable former Chief Judge Mendes, because we don't really have anything to go by on this Chicago team. As Dan pointed out, other groups, more local groups, showed the kind of community connection that we hope the Chicago team will also now implement, now that they seem to be in the bag. But this repeated process of the city council or the mayor's office saying, well, it has to do with the city's attorney's office, and then people getting unpopular political decisions of this limited technical appeal and $5,000 and a complete whitewashing of his disciplinary record for now Captain Kruger, who had a Nazi fetishism that we're sure is rehabilitated. I hope that 2015 will bring us a better level of trust and engagement between the citizens and the people on this council. Thank you.
Charles, since there's been a reference made to the existing U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, I think we should acknowledge that Amanda Marshall, the U.S. Attorney for the District of Oregon, is actually here. It's not just her chair or her office. She's here in person.
And I hope that since she's an Oregonian now, she might even send somebody from her staff or person come up and say that she feels that Mr. Dr. I think it's Rosenbaum is totally competent, but there might have been a better interfacing with the community if a more local firm was chosen. Thank you.